What it is, what's happening. So before I set this thing on the ground, I figured I'd give you guys a quick update what's going on with the 59 Ford truck that I'm working on. I think I might have said it was a 60, but it's actually a 59. So if you're following my last couple videos, you know I put a rear in this thing. I'm just fixing, not restoring this truck. The rear is now in it. Get ready to set this brake drum on and put the wheels on, but I figured I'd just show you guys what's going on with it. So I put new brake shoes on it. It already had hardware and wheel cylinders in it, but the shoes were really beat and the drums were rusty, so I gave the drums a light cut. One drum was actually no good, but our spare junkyard rear had one good drum. I do need to put one wheel stud in. I got to knock it out of the other rear. But I got the rear in. Like I said before, it was missing these shock brackets. So the shocks on it. If you've seen how it had real nice custom brake lines last time, so I made new brake lines for it. Cleaned and painted the rear, just changed the oil in the rear. This thing actually does have a drain plug in the bottom. And I actually did kind of paint it the way it's supposed to be. 9-inch rears always had the center section that were like a primer color. And then the rear was actually painted, so kind of kept that going. Some other stuff I repaired on the truck was, this truck's not tagged, so we're going to have to run through inspection for its first time. Any rust holes, they'll fail it in the state of Delaware, which they never used to, but now they're starting to get picky. So we came up with a couple of patches with some license plates. Kind of keep, the inside of the truck is covered in license plates, so we kind of kept that going on the outside. So I had a hole in the body right here, patched that. I had a hole in the fender. Since it had a big ugly hole, let's patch it with Dirty Jersey. As you can see, somebody had already patched the door 100 years ago. But it had a hole that did have a patch over it, but it still had a rust hole exposed. It all depends on when you run through the lanes. The guy may fail it, may not fail it. That's the loveliness of our state. One guy will say, yeah, it has to be covered up. Another guy will say, nah, it's fine. And then sometimes they just tell you to put aluminum tape on it, and that's okay. So we patched it with Dirty Jersey. In the front end, I'd found almost all the steering linkage loose. Now everything's nice and tightened up. I have to, I'm going to get it on the ground because I need to lift for another job. I still have to get U-bolts made for the front. So I still don't have the correct U-bolts so I can put the shock mounts on the front and shocks. But everything else is tightened up in the front. Got the front brakes adjusted, repacked all the bearings. That wheel needs to be adjusted a little bit more. Got all the front bearings repacked, new seals in there. I actually did pull these axles out of the rear and put new axle seals in there. Something I want to point out that a lot of guys miss on these old cars. Very important. See that little guy right there? That is the rear vent. A lot of times there's a hose hooked to it that goes up, but these older ones just had this little cap on there. Make sure that cap is free and take that out of there. Make sure you can blow air through there and make sure that this isn't rusted up. What will happen is, if that is blocked, the rear has no way of venting, and it can build pressure up, and it can push a seal out and cause a leak. I did put all new seals in here, so shouldn't leak. But a lot of guys will miss that, and I'll see those things full of mud. And mud daubers will build a nest in there. Tripping over my words today. It's hot. I had to turn my air conditioner off so you guys could hear me. So make sure those things are cleared up to prevent yourself having a leak. Like I said, I did put seals in this thing because I put fresh gear oil in it. This thing said, the tag on it says it has 370s in it. I did not pull the center section because this was a good used rear, and this is a budget. We're not, I don't want to say a budget, but we got a number we got to spend and try to help the guy out and keep it within reason. So she's all together, getting ready to throw that drum on, adjust that brake up, throw the wheels on, and then I'm going to roll it out. He did stop by last night. We talked about a few things. We need to look at the charging system because we don't think it's charging. A couple other little things we're going to do to it so he can get it inspected and get it on the road. And then down the road, we'll do some other repairs. We still need to hunt down some emergency brake cables because they're missing. I did patch the exhaust up. If you looked in the previous videos, the exhaust was really bad. It was like 500 pieces clamped together. So I put a piece of pipe in, moved the muffler back, and made a little longer tailpipe. Now, why did I do that? Is because in my state, this should pass. It needs to be a few inches past the cab. But it was so hacked up and so clamped together with so many pieces, he actually told me last night, he says, man, he said, the one time I drove it, he said, the fumes in the cab were horrible. So I cut the exhaust off because it literally had 6 clamps with pieces just clamped together. So I cut it all out, reused the muffler, added a piece of pipe, and we just made the tailpipe come out here. I don't know if you can see it here. There she is. And just dump it out. Again, in this state, with this old stuff, somebody may look underneath of it and say it's fine. Guy may never even look underneath of it. I had a 64 Falcon I took through inspection a few years ago. The guy got to talking to me so much, he never checked the lights or wipers or anything else. You never know. So, he might get lucky. But we're just trying to get everything taken care of ahead of time so we don't have these issues. So that's where I'm at with this truck today. Like I said, it's coming off the lift here in about 10 minutes. So I can use the lift for some other stuff until I get those U-bolts and then the repairs I got to do underneath the hood. And I'll bring you guys along for that. I wish I could film as I work on some of this stuff, but this is a one-man show. This is my personal shop. I'm the only one here. I don't have anybody to film, so I kind of just try to remember as I go along, but sometimes I get involved and get to work, and I'm like, shit, I wanted to video that. It is what it is, but at least you get an idea of what's going on, and maybe you get something out of it, maybe you don't. I try to share something, try to maybe help some guys that are new to the old car hobby. You too can do this. It's pretty basic to work on. I've been working on this junk for 30-some years, but there's where I'm at with it right now. Pretty pleased with the way everything turned out. With everything tightened up in the front end, I can't wait to get the front shocks on and take it for a ride. Because he told me that it was all over the road and bouncing all over the place, which I kind of expect. No shocks, everything loose in the front end. This is going to be like a totally different truck for him when he gets it. So, holler at your boy, keep it reals, and I'll catch you on the next one.